Joining us now is a home expert from 1-800-HANSONS on the MegaCast as we are now in the thick of things with the winter. And winter weather, of course, does a lot of damage to our homes as well as to our outdoor environments as well. And so we're pleased to have Greg Schulman with us to talk about some of the ways that winter can provide some damage to our homes and ways that companies like 1-800-HANSONS help people throughout the state of Michigan prevent those damages as well as repair them also. Greg, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So the first big one that really comes to mind when you think about Michigan weather and Michigan winters and the ways that it impacts our home are those little ice dams. You know, those kind of icicles that form over the gutters in our homes and can be problematic for a number of different reasons. Why do those ice dams form? Because when the snow's coming in and maybe when it's not quite as cold outside consistently, you would think it would all just melt and flow through the gutters, but that's not always the case.
No, it's not. Unfortunately, probably the best two things to prevent your ice dams will be, as you mentioned, keeping your gutters clean so water can flow through it, and also to have proper ventilation for your attic. What most people don't realize is your attic temperature should be very close to the outside temperature. And this will also help reduce your everyday heating bills.
And so then there are a number of different problems other than, of course, the safety hazard of walking under the icicles that form over those ice dams and the potential hazards that can come from one of those breaking free and falling onto you or falling onto somebody else. That's just one of the potential hazards. But these ice dams can also do some damage to your home itself on the exterior and some of those systems like your gutters, correct?
Correct. What happens is, as I mentioned, your attic should be about the outside temperature. What happens is when you don't have proper ventilation, it pulls heat from your home, increasing your energy bills, number one. But that causes the snow on your roof to melt until it gets to your eaves, which are your overhangs. That's where it refreezes and backs everything up. And then if the water has nowhere to go, including your gutters, it backs up under your shingles and down through your house. And that's where you can get extensive damage to your walls. It can go all the way right down to your foundation.
And so then, Greg, you mentioned that one of the key aspects of preventing ice dams is proper ventilation of your attic. Where does this come about as a problem in most homes? Is this something that kind of develops over time? Because I would imagine when someone is designing a home, when somebody is building a home, that proper ventilation should already be there. How does this become a problem over time?
It should be. A lot of times you see it where people have done roofs on their home instead of bringing an expert in. They don't have what they call intake ventilation. There should be both intake and exhaust ventilation through your roofs. In other words, like a cross breeze in your home. Bring the air in one area and let it out the other. Also, over time, it could be in your soffits, and just dust, debris, and insulation, if you have it, can fall and clog your soffit vents.
And so, Greg, once the ice dams form and once the ice dams have done their damage, what can be done then at the home to to repair that damage and then prevent it in the future? And how costly is that as opposed to taking preventative measures such as those improvements in ventilation for your attic, for example?
Yeah, well, the preventative measures are always the best. So if you can stop it from happening, and again, it's as simple as ventilation and keeping your gutters clean. And the other part of that is I've seen a lot of people put what they call gutter protection up, but make sure the gutter protection allows the water to get from the roof to the gutter. In other words, it's not about protecting your gutter, it's about protecting your home. And the gutters are probably the most overlooked aspect of protecting your home. You don't see when they're clogged, it's out of sight, out of mind.
And so
regular inspections go a long way with this.
We're joined by Greg Schulman. He's a home expert from 1-800-HANSONS, joining us today on the MegaCast. And so as the seasons change, people do their spring cleaning. People clear out maybe their gardens at the end of fall to prepare annuals and other plants for the winter season. They prepare their gardens, and after winter season, going into the spring, people also want to make those home improvements as well at the change of seasons. If they haven't already made some of those basic improvements and adjustments in their home for winter, what should those be? And or at the very least, as people are preparing for the average winter going forward, what should some of those considerations be as they head into the season?
Well, the winter obviously brings the high heating costs. Mm-hmm. So a quick do-it-yourself is you can check to see if you have drafts around your window. One simple way is to hold the candle around your window and see if the flame flickers and feels a draft. The one caveat I would put with that is a lot of people would put up the plastic on the inside and caulk the inside of the window, which will help with the heating and cooling costs. But if you find one of these Michigan days where it warms up a little bit, go outside and caulk the window too, because remember, if air's coming in, so can water. And what you don't want to find out in spring is you had a bunch of water come in, as it freezes, it expands out and actually makes the openings bigger.
We're joined by Greg Schulman. He's the home expert for 1-800-Hansons, joining us on the MegaCast. You can learn more information and get in contact with 1-800-Hansons to make any improvements on your home that may be necessary for this winter, or to repair any damages that may be caused by Michigan winter by visiting their website at Hansons.com. Again, that is Hansons.com. And so if people don't want to be necessarily bringing in experts to make major improvements on their home to prevent rising costs in their heating for the winter, what are some basic steps that people may be able to take at home to lower their heating bills a little bit during this winter season?
Some simple things you can do at home go as far as close doors on rooms you don't use, close curtains in rooms, that'll act as insulation. If you have ceiling fans, make sure they're running counterclockwise. They push heat down as opposed to running clockwise, pulling heat up. So these are a couple simple steps that you can take. And these are all temporary steps. And then, there's no cost to bring an expert out to evaluate and give you ideas. So that being the case, have somebody out, get some ideas, then you can make the best decision for yourself, whether you need the expert or you can handle it yourself.
And so what sort of benefits do come from having an expert come out just to do a check on your, at the very least, on your home? Maybe they're not doing necessarily repairs, but you're having someone from a company like yours at 1-800-Hansons to come out and check out the home and make sure that it is fully ready for the winter season, so that you're not setting yourself up potentially for damages in your home.
Well, if it's not something you do every day, knowing what to look for and really properly looking goes a long way. So you can tell are your shingles allowing water underneath it that's going to lead to a leak. Look in your attic for moisture. You can get a whole lot just from looking, and an expert knows where to look, where the most common areas are. Use their experience, and then you can put that together with what you're ready for.
We're joined by Greg Schulman. He is a home expert at 1-800-Hansons, joining us on the MegaCast. You can learn more information by visiting the website at Hansons.com. And so a lot of these tips have gone back for preventing damage to your home in the winter, or for lowering your heating bill over the winter. A lot of this has circled back to your roof, to the roofing. They're very important for winter, especially as the snow builds up, to prevent, of course, intake of water, which can be very damaging as it expands and contracts with the melting and the freezing of the water. But what should people be looking for in terms of their roof, and any sort of red flags that should pop up for them if they're checking their roof out before the winter season, or if they're having an expert come out? What are some of those red flags that they are going to be looking for that may need to be repaired before the winter or after the winter to prevent further damages down the road?
Well, one of the things you want to look for is curling shingles that are lifted up. That allows water and snow to back up underneath it. If you want to know how well your roof is kind of ventilated or how well you're saving energy, another quick tip is look down your street after it snowed. Oftentimes you'll see homes, some with snow and some without snow on it. You want to be the home with the snow on it. That means there's no heat leaving your home, melting it, and you have a much more energy efficient home, and one that's better prone to the winter.
And so is there a certain checklist of different different checks that people should be making, different items that maybe people should be investing in, or different small pet projects either for themselves or for experts that they should be checking off their list as they go into winter to prepare their home best for the season?
Well, first off, you want to keep your home energy efficient. That's the one that costs you the most money. Go around, check for drafts. It's simple. You can get at any store, a home improvement store, even those draft things that go by your front door on the floor. If a little draft can cost a lot of money. If you can lower your thermostat, great. Then kind of just check from bottom to top. Again, check your gutters, make sure water's running through them, that they're not clogged, and look in your attic. That's where you'll find your leak before it makes the home. So just go pop your head if you can through an access, shine a flashlight, and see if you see any wet spots.
We're joined by Greg Schulman, a home expert from 1-800-HANSONS on the MegaCast. You can learn more information by visiting Hansons.com or visiting their Twitter page as well on Twitter at 1-800-HANSONS. Again, Hansons.com. And so, Greg, lastly, we hear a lot about winterization as we're heading into the season from companies like yours, from other companies that provide similar services or adjacent services. What exactly is winterization?
Well, every season has its own nuances, so to speak. So winterization is how you're going to protect yourself from the cold and from the snow and the water. Again, water finds its way in, so it's sealing up all the little areas. It's making sure that you don't have what we call the spring surprise, because again, once water finds its way in a little area and it freezes, it expands and makes the little leak a big leak. That's why it's so important to be a little preventive with this, so the little leak never becomes the big leak.
We're joined by Greg Schulman from 1-800-HANSONS, a home expert with us on the MegaCast. Greg, another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye. Any last words of advice for people as they're continuing through the winter season, trying to make last-minute improvements in their homes or checks in their homes, or other advice for home repairs and maintenance during the winter season?
Again, the interior ones, go ahead, but be careful, particularly with the exterior ones. When you're out there with snow and ice, if you don't do it every day, you're not really an expert. Snow and ice doesn't mesh well with ladders with you if you haven't done it. Let the experts do what they do, okay? In the long run, you're always better off. But once again, have them out, have them explain it to you, and then see what's best for you.
Well, Greg, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, and appreciate the advice as well, as we, of course, now are in the thick of things in the winter season, but people still need to keep those checks up and running and make sure that they're protecting their homes and their heating bill as well.
Thank you.